everyone. I know it's been a while. I've been super busy with work, like you wouldn't believe. I've been just busy with life in general. But I just wanted to get a quick video out to you guys because today is a special day. Today is the 30th anniversary of the best concert that I've ever seen. As you can see, I just saw Tears for Fears here in Atlanta just a few days ago. It was a great show. It went by really fast. I was just thinking to myself, I've been very fortunate to catch most bands that I've really loved. I've been able to see them live. I've got a lot of ticket stubs here of all these shows that I've seen over the years since I've been going to concerts. My first concert ever was, well, actually my parents took me to a couple of soul concerts. I even think they took me to Lou Rawls or something like that. But the first concert that I really wanted to go to, that my father took me and my sisters and my brother to, was Michael Jackson on the Thriller tour. From there, I got really deep into the metal thrashcore scene, and I saw bands like DRI and Halloween, Exodus, Slayer, Anthrax. Here's The Who, which was on their Quadrophenia, I think it was their 20th anniversary tour. Ringo Starr's son was playing drums. It was great. It was a great show. The legendary Jellyfish here, that I've seen them as well. Modest Mouse, saw them a long time ago, 2 nights back to back with Built to Spill. This was in 2001, but I saw them in the late 90s. Afghan Wigs, phenomenal live. Anyway, I've seen a lot of concerts. I've seen a ton of metal shows, and I've seen, you name it, just from other genres of music that you may be familiar with, bands like Descendants, Sebadoh. So anyway, now, all that said, the best show that I've ever seen in my life, and I've seen, like I said, a lot of bands. I've seen a lot of legacy bands like The Police, Van Halen, seen all those bands, and I loved it. This is the best concert that I ever saw, right here, 30 years ago today. Skinny Puppy, that's right. Seeing Skinny Puppy live was, in 1992, would have been like seeing Genesis in 1972. It was so theatrical. As a matter of fact, when we went into the show, my friend Curt, who went to tons of shows with me, he and I saw so many bands together. Just a little bit of a backstory I need to tell you. We used to go to this record store called Turtles in Atlanta, and you go into this store, and sometimes there'd be people there who actually knew stuff about music, and there was a girl in there, and I remember she was talking about the new Skinny Puppy record. At the time, the new Skinny Puppy record was called Rabies, and she was like, "You gotta check out this album, it's great." We checked it out, and I was like, wow, I couldn't believe what I was hearing out of this record. It was like unlike anything I'd ever heard. Well, little did I know at the time, but another band that I would get into called Ministry, Al Jurgensen, was all over Rabies, okay? He was all over that record. From there, I became a fan. I started collecting all of Skinny Puppy's albums, and I quickly learned that this group, you didn't know what you were gonna get. They really changed it up. So we were expecting a very theatrical show. And as soon as this show starts up, we're sitting at the very top at a place called the Center Stage, which is one of my favorite venues in Atlanta to go see shows. We're sitting up there, Curt and I sit down, we're like, okay, we're just gonna watch the show, we're gonna be calm, no moshing, none of that kind of stuff, no pogoing, nothing. We're just gonna enjoy the show. And we sit down, and Skinny Puppy opens up with Addiction. The whole crowd is just bouncing to Addiction. And I'm telling you, we look at each other and we're like, oh my God. And we just rush down there and jump in the crowd and proceeded to just pogo with people, mosh, whatever you want to call it. Everyone's just like joining, locking arms and spinning around and dancing and just totally celebrating the miracle, the mastery of Skinny Puppy, because what went on during that show visually and musically was just mind-blowing for me. And I'm talking like I've seen so many different bands, so many different styles of music, and not only that, it seemed like they played nearly everything I wanted to hear. That set list, the way it flowed, it was just mind-blowing. Soon after playing Addiction, they played The Choke. This tour was in support of Last Rites. So it was really, you were getting to hear everything they had done all the way up through Last Rites, and they placed everything in all the right spots. They closed with Testure, which is one of my all-time favorite Skinny Puppy tunes. But they played, they played the right songs from Too Dark Park. Looking back on it over the years, after seeing that show, I measured every show that I ever attended or performed by that show. I've since gone back and watched shows from that tour, and while it doesn't really capture or do it justice, it still brings me back to that night. I mean, just the crazy things that, like, Ogre grabs this handlebar looking, the whole stage had this like cyberpunk kind of feel to it. It looked really weird. Not even cyberpunk, I don't know, it looked more like the movie set of like Aliens versus Predator or something weird like that, or Aliens, right? But he grabs this thing and he pulls up into it, he puts his head inside of it, and he's in there for a while. And when he puts his head inside of this thing, there's this huge screen behind them, and his face comes up on the screen, and there's like all this stuff happening to his face, and he's like looking around, and I'm telling you, it was very, very trippy. It was, for someone completely stone cold sober, it was very, very trippy. You didn't have to be on anything to enjoy the show. I'm older now, so I don't do that, but even back then, for me, drug usage, drug and alcohol, all that stuff, alcohol is drugs in my opinion, but all that stuff, to me, it doesn't really mix with music, okay? It just doesn't. I mean, it depends on where you are in it. If you're listening to a certain album and you are, you want to be in a certain state of mind, I understand, I get it. That's not what I'm talking about. But for a live performance, I want to be able to remember that live performance. I want to be able to take it in. And I'm telling you right now, I would not remember anything if I would have been that way. And I'm glad that I was stone cold sober for that show, because I can think of some other shows where that was not the case, like Hello, Happy Mondays, Frontline Assembly. I was so blitzed, I have no idea what even happened during that show. But anyway, more than anything, I have a lot of gratitude, and I'm very thankful and fortunate that I have been able to see, like, to witness music at the time that I witnessed it, and be a part of it, and even meet some of the musicians that I've met. It is a blessing. It is. It certainly is. So anyway, I'm gonna have more videos out to you. I just wanted to mark this special day. It was 30 years ago today. I don't know if I'll ever see a better show. Like I said, these guys were great, but there was just something about where I was as a music lover and what I experienced at that live show. The people who were there, the people made it great. And my comrade who always went to shows with me, he made it great. Everything about it was right. Like, the right people were there, and the right songs were played, and the right band was playing them, and they put on the perfect presentation. And for that, this is why Skinny Puppy at Center Stage, 1992, June 15th, is the best concert that I have ever seen.